Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video guide for Conan Exiles. Today in this video, folks, I'm going to show you how to get the best daggers in the game. Of course, this is on the Isle of Siptah, and what they're used for, how they work, and why they are the best daggers, although they have, of course, been nerfed. So I'm going to remove, as you can see, Cloak, God Mode, and Sprint, Unlimited Sprint, so you guys can see what I'm doing now. I am close to the boss that drops them, so what I'm going to do is I am going to climb up on this structure right here. This can be a bit derpy at times if you're going to take on the boss, and the boss that we're going to take on is that dog creature right there. That's fine, he's quite far away from us, but he will eventually aggro onto the skeletons that have aggroed onto us. I'm just going to pull them over here, and I'm going to use the snake arrows. So as you can see, he's already aggroed onto the skeletons, which has brought it to us. And now all we need to do is use the snake arrows to stack up the poisons on him. And that should kill him pretty quick. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that sometimes this boss will run to his initial position. When he does do that, his health does heal, so you want to try and tag him as quick as possible to prevent that healing. He does have a decent amount of HP, and we don't really want him to heal to full health. It can be derpy trying to, of course, dot him up. Sometimes the hitbox of the buildings kind of gets in the way. And now we're just going to keep the 10 stack on him. Now you may see him run off to his initial position. When he does do that, what you need to know is that he will heal. So you really want to re-aggro him really quick, because that means that he's lost aggro. He cannot get to me up here. So all I need to do is just keep the dots. Now, of course, you can bring in the poison arrows, which you can shoot into the ground, and it will release a poison cloud. You can stack up the dot that way. So he's already run off. Just watch what happens to his health. I'm going to try and quickly pick him up again. Make sure he comes to me. So he might do this once or twice. Now, of course, you can also fight him, but do bear in mind that he does hit like a truck. I think he takes about 100 health damage, or he does about 100 health damage with armor, with heavy armor. So keep that in mind. He does hit hard. Now, I prefer to keep it safe. And yes, if he does lose aggro on me once or twice, that's fine. Now, notice that I do have a quick respawn timer on all NPCs. So he will re-aggro on the skeletons. But if there weren't the skeletons, it might be a case of where he just runs up to his respawn point or his point of origin several times. It might make it a bit longer, but I'd rather it be longer and safe. As I said, he does hit pretty hard. So he's going to come this way again. I'm going to try and position myself in such a way where I can actually see him without falling down, hopefully, and keep the dots going on him. Nope, I missed. Oh, there we go. Let's try and get him again. He did heal again. That's kind of bad, but it is what it is. Now, he can't reach me up here, so this is the perk of doing it this way. Now, of course, you can have a thrall down there playing with him if you would like to do that. I am doing this without a thrall, and the quality of the bow doesn't really matter. The whole important part of this is to keep the stacks of poison on him. Now, of course, to make the snake arrows, you need to have the Set religion, and you can craft them in the altar of Set. They are fairly inexpensive to craft, and as you can see, very useful for non-undead creatures. You can basically do that. So he's gonna, I'm gonna try and get this guy back again quickly. I don't know if I hit him with that. I feel like I haven't. So he did heal a bit, but he should die out pretty quick. So just keep up the dot on him. Now, at the moment, he's focused on me rather than on the undead. And I guess this is a good thing, because with the undead that have just respawned, they can help me take him down. And they'll also keep his attention here a bit longer. Now, he's nearly dead. Shouldn't go that long now. Right, so he's down. So, what does this guy drop? He drops the diseased daggers, or the diseased knives, I'm gonna quickly re-enable all my admin abilities so I can show you what we got in his inventory. We didn't get what we wanted. We did get a legendary weapon though, and a shard. So you know, we can use these. A fragment of power is what I meant to call it. A shard. I couldn't remember what it was called. So we got a legendary weapon and a fragment of power. Now I'm gonna keep killing this guy off until we get the diseased daggers. Okay, several attempts here. Oh, here we go. He's spawned again. Let's go and get him. Oh, he's aggroed onto the skellies. Gonna use the admin command to kill him. And let's see what he dropped this time. Alright, we got what we wanted. These are the daggers that we want. So, diseased knives. Now, what does this do? They basically apply a dot to your enemy. That dot does not go away for as long as your enemy is in combat or aggroed onto you. So that is quite important. Now, in the past, what they used to do is they used to stack up dots even without you hitting them. So I think the maximum number of stacks that you can have, or dots, from this knife is 10. And all you needed to do is just tag your enemy once and then just avoid them, and it would automatically keep adding a stack on, or a dot onto that stack, all the way up to 10. That doesn't do that anymore. However, they are still very powerful. Yes, you still need to apply them yourself because the dots don't go away for as long as your enemy is aggroed onto you. Now, this does do a percentage damage, so not very useful against small creatures or creatures with small HP pools, but very useful in other areas. So this is the area where the boss spawns on the map, and I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to test it out. We're going to play around with it and why I think this is still a very powerful weapon to have and where to use it more specifically. So we're going to tag this wonderful gator right here. I did use the heavy attack, so I did do a lot of damage. As you can see, it does apply the customary bleed that we expect from the daggers, and it also applies the disease from the knives. As you can see, they don't go away, and obviously the creature is not aggroed onto me. It does stay on there for quite a long time. Once the bleed goes down, as you can see, it's still there, and it will do damage. And like I said, it is a percentage damage. It does seem to decrease with the amount of HP pool lost. So basically, if there's not a lot of HP on the creature, the damage is smaller. But it is useful. It will eventually kill the skater. I'm just going to let you see that for yourselves. And it does seem to tick very slowly. So you probably think, well, what's the use of this? Well, it does have its uses, and obviously it's not going to be against your standard creatures. I'll show you where I think this type of weapon comes in very handy. There we go. That's that. One gator down. We did nothing. We just stood and looked at it. Now, where do these daggers come in handy? They come in handy against world bosses and dungeon bosses. Of course, forget the fact that they continue stacking. You need to stack them up yourself up to 10, so that means you have to hit the creature 10 times. It will also apply bleed, so you can use this as a starting weapon, apply that dot, and then switch to whatever else weapon that you want. So if you're gonna want to stack up dots, you can go with the snake arrows, apply a 10 stack of poison from the snake arrows. You can combine it with the poison arrows, you can combine it with other types of dots. I would normally have a thrall open up with these daggers, then switch to my main weapon per boss. Now, as you can see, this boss has a lot of HP, and so therefore the damage done by the disease that the dagger puts on will be quite significant. Now, it is slow, but it does help with taking down creatures like this that are bosses. I would probably use something along the lines of the Executioner Axe or Sword to finish him off when the boss is at 10% HP, just for the execution. But yeah, I'll kind of follow this guy around, and I'll show you how effective they are against something with a large HP pool. Let's A couple of minutes later, he's already at half health. All I did was just kind of stay on him. Now the dot has fallen off him because he's not aggroed onto me, so that means that the boss will heal. So just follow him around. We'll tag him once more just to kind of show you that it will obviously heal the boss, or the boss will heal if the dots are not on him, if he's not aggroed onto you. There we go. So he's at full health. But they are quite efficient against bosses, so that's why I think these daggers are very good. Still very powerful, but only in this sort of circumstance. Not particularly good against other players, not particularly good against undead. Well, not good at all against undead, and not particularly good against low HP creatures. However, when you are facing something with a giant HP pool, they do have their perks. So I would say that this is more of an opener type of weapon where you open up with this and then stack the dots on him and then switch to your main type of weapon. That does help you take it down, and it should make fighting bosses such as world bosses and dungeon bosses a lot easier. I think the downside to it is the ticks on the damage on the dots are fairly rare, so they don't seem to tick as often as other dots like bleed and poison from the snake arrows and so on. But they do help, so they can make fights that can potentially be very long a wee bit shorter, which is kind of useful. Especially if you're going to want to farm bosses, which is what I am looking forward to doing in this game. There's definitely a good reason to farm the bosses in this new DLC. There's a lot of good loot to get from them. And as you saw, the boss that drops them is not all that difficult to take out. You don't need to be late in the game. You can do this fairly early on. That is it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Siptah Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video description, as well as in a pinned comment from myself. Until next time, stay safe, folks.